She said it like a punchline. That was the moment the line was crossed. The bar went quiet in the way rooms do when something ugly slips out dressed as humor. Glasses paused halfway to mouths. Someone laughed too late. Someone else looked down. I felt the words land clean and surgical right behind my ribs. I didn't blink. I smiled. I finished my drink and I left. The place smelled like citrus cleaner and old whiskey. The kind of bar that pretends it's casual but charges for the lighting. We'd been there 100 times. Same booth, same friends, same ritual. She sat beside me, legs crossed toward the table, body angled just far enough away to pretend it meant nothing. Her friend leaned in, grinning loose with alcohol and confidence. So, she said, dragging the word out, when are you finally going to propose? It was meant to tease. It was meant to flatter. She didn't even look at me. She rolled her eyes, laughed, took a sip, then delivered it. God, I hope never. I'd rather die than marry him. Not sharp, casual, practiced. Like she'd rehearsed it alone. The table erupted in scattered reactions. One gasp, one bark of laughter, one hurried. Change of subject. Someone said my name. Too late, too softly. She finally glanced at me, smiling, waiting for me to play along. I held her gaze. I smiled back. Silence stretched. Uncomfortable. Delicious. I drained my glass, placed it carefully on the coaster, and stood. My jacket slid over my shoulders without haste. No slam chairs, no words, no scene, just absence. Behind me. Conversation restarted louder than necessary. Relief disguised as noise. I didn't look back. The night air was sharp, honest. It cut through the sweetness she'd been feeding me for years. I walked 3 blocks before my hands started shaking. Not from heartbreak, from clarity. I'd loved her quietly, strategically. I built space for her ambitions, absorbed her moods, financed her pauses. I was the stability she leaned on while joking about how boring I was, a placeholder she never thought would move. She underestimated silence. An hour later, my phone lit up. Her name. I let it ring again, then a text. Why did you leave? Are you mad? I waited, let the question rot. When I finally answered, her voice cracked through the speaker. Thin and trembling, stripped of the audience she performed for. Why did you leave? She asked again. I leaned against my kitchen counter, lights off. City humming outside. I could picture her pacing, mascara smudged, confidence leaking out by the second. Just saving you from a fate worse than death, I said. Then I hung up. That was the end of the relationship. She just didn't know it. Yet, I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I didn't demand apologies she would weaponize later. I did what I always did best. I observed. I withdrew. I planned. She thought my silence was sulking. She thought time would soften me back into usefulness. She sent messages that swung between guilt and charm. I responded politely, briefly, never emotionally. While she talked, I took inventory. The apartment was in my name, the lease, the utilities. The car insurance she forgot to update. The business contacts she'd been using through my introductions. The credit card I'd added her to when she said it made her feel safe. Love makes you generous. Disrespect makes you precise. I didn't take anything from her. I simply stopped giving. First, I removed her access to the shared account. No announcement, just a quiet click on a screen. She noticed 3 days later when her card declined at brunch. She laughed it off, texted me a joke about banks being idiots. I didn't reply. Next, I informed the landlord I'd be ending the lease early, per the clause I negotiated years ago. I paid my portion in full. I forwarded the notice to her with a single line. You'll need to make arrangements. Her calls started then. Sharp, panicked, confused. I missed them all. Then came the car. The insurance lapsed. She found out on the side of the road. Hazard lights blinking. Confidence evaporating with every passing headlight. She left me a voicemail that night. No jokes, no laughter. Please, she said. I don't understand what's happening. I listened. Once I deleted it, the unraveling wasn't dramatic. That was the beauty of it. It was administrative, procedural, death by paperwork. I canceled the phone plan, removed her from the streaming accounts she mocked me for paying for, stopped covering the expenses she'd labeled temporary. Temporary had become permanent, so had my resolve. Mutual friends reached out cautiously. I kept my responses neutral. Facts only, no bitterness. Let them fill in the blanks with their own discomfort. She showed up at my place unannounced 2 weeks later, eyes red, hair unwashed. The doorbell rang like a dare. I opened the door. She stepped forward, then stopped. I hadn't changed. That was what scared her. "You're doing this on purpose," she said. Voice small now. "You're punishing me." I tilted my head, studied her like a problem already solved. "No," I said calmly. "I'm respecting what you said," she flinched. "I was joking." I held the door open, letting the silence stretch between us, letting her hear her own words echo back. "Jokes are truths that want witnesses," I said. "You had an audience, now you don't." Her anger flared, last defense of the cornered. "You're being cruel." I smiled, soft, controlled. "You were honest," I said. "I'm just being thorough." She started to cry then, real tears, the kind that used to undo me. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. The door remained open, but the invitation was gone. "Please," she whispered. "I didn't mean it. I know," I said. "You meant it to cost nothing." I closed the door gently. Months passed. She moved, struggled, lost momentum. Without my infrastructure, her life required effort. Consequences piled up quietly, relentlessly. I rebuilt in the space. She vacated new routines, new calm, new respect for myself most of all. Sometimes I think about that night at the bar. The way she laughed, the way I smiled, the way everyone assumed I'd swallow it like I always did. They never see the exit coming when you leave politely. They never hear the explosion when it happens inside you. The last message she sent came 6 months later. "No apology, just nostalgia softened by desperation. I miss us," I didn't respond. Some things don't deserve closure, they deserve distance. And the understanding that when someone tells you they'd rather die than stand beside you, the kindest thing you can do is let them live with the truth.